So what's the difference between Hahnemuhle and Moab protective sprays? Is one better than the other? Is there any difference? Or is this spray needed at all? Let's find out. Why use a protective spray on inkjet prints? Is it necessary? What does it do? Well, above all, it extends the life of the print. The archival benefits are the bottom line. According to sources like Red River Paper Company, fine art prints with pigment inks can last about 50 years before the colors begin to significantly fade. Hahnemühle's website states that basically the age resistance of a print is based on the paper and the print. Indeed, they state these papers can resist aging for hundreds of years. That means that a print can last for more than 100 years when paired with UV-resistant pigment inks. So, why use a protective spray at all if our prints are going to outlive us anyway? Well, there are other benefits, such as reducing fingerprint marks and scratches from handling the paper. The spray also protects and seals the print, and it helps preserve the print's intensity and brilliance for many years. It fixes the colors of both pigment and dye inks to prevent colors from fading. And of course, it offers protection against UV light. Both sprays are fast drying, but Hahnemuhle, it does seem to have a finer spray pattern when you're actually applying it, which seems to coat the paper more evenly. Something else to keep in mind is that Moab does not recommend spraying glossy prints, only matte and semi-gloss. Moab states that the spray is intended to be used only with matte papers. Now, I've been using both these sprays on a variety of fine art papers for years now, mostly Canon and Hahnemuhle matte and semi-gloss papers, and so far I haven't encountered any issues. On that note, neither spray seems to be prone to clogging or gunning up at the nozzle, which is good, so that's important. Moab does recommend spraying their prints while basically hanging vertically to prevent pooling of the spray, which can potentially damage a print. Now, I've always sprayed my prints basically horizontal, laying on the ground, and I haven't had any issues. I get the best results when I cut out the top of a box, and basically that allows me to spray the print and not worry about getting any contamination or anything kind of particles flying in and sticking to the print. I always apply 2 coats in opposite directions. So let's examine and compare 2 prints, one sprayed with Hahnemuhle protective spray and the other with Moab Desert Varnish. Although these prints were printed and sprayed over a year ago, I recently sprayed a copy for comparison. I cut the print in half and sprayed one side with Hahnemuhle and the other with Moab. I sprayed them to kind of rule out any inconsistencies in the comparison so it doesn't skew the results. The print halves make it easier to compare the color differences. I also compared the whiteness of the borders for any yellowing. Now, you may not care about the borders. Most people probably cover the borders with the frames, or they print borderless. But just as a comparison, I put that in there. When compared to each other, the color and brilliance seem identical. It's difficult to say with certainty, but the white seems slightly brighter with the Hahnemuhle spray. I randomly shuffled the prints around basically 5 times, and I picked Hahnemuhle 4 out of the 5 times. But it's just so insignificant that I don't think it really makes any difference. When comparing the newly printed halves to either of the prints, I can't tell any difference in the color or the brightness. They just seem identical. Both sprays seem to equally resist fingerprints and scratches compared to a print that hasn't been sprayed. Indeed, the sprayed prints do a much better job of resisting fingerprints. Both sprays they're just phenomenal at protecting against scratches when I compare these to the unsprayed print. So what's the bottom line? Which do I prefer? Truly, both prints appear identical, but the Hahnemuhle, Hahnemühle's the winner. The finer spray pattern makes a big difference. It delivers a consistent volume, and it just evenly coats the paper when I compared it to the Moab spray. On close inspection, the Moab spray just appeared blotchy in areas. Other than that, these 2 sprays just seem identical. I don't think one could go wrong with either spray. One thing to note, though, in my opinion, it's worth using either spray solely for the benefits of reducing fingerprints and scratches. Both these sprays do an incredible job in resisting scratches. When I compared these to the print that hadn't been sprayed, the scratch-resistant properties of the spray, it's phenomenal. It's truly a benefit of using the spray if there's no other benefit. At any rate, I plan to continue using both sprays, but once I use up the last of the Moab, that's it. It's Hahnemuhle for future prints for me. Now, I don't spray every print, but I do spray the ones that I consider to be the most important. And because I plan to continue using it, I recommend it to you as well. Now, I'm going to let these hang out in the open for a year and just kind of see what happens. Maybe I'll make another video in a year. But if you found this video useful, you may like my video where I compared Hahnemühle's Photo Rag Baryta against Moab's Juniper Baryta Rag. And I made a few other videos on printing as well, and I'll post those in the video description. If you like this video, though, make sure you consider subscribing and hit that like button. And, as always, if I don't see you down the road, maybe I'll see you somewhere out there on the trail.